Clarity is king. Every single thing you birth or create first started out as a thought, whether that thought was conscious or unconscious, which is why clarity is so important. If you live a life by default, no need for clarity. But if you want to live a life by design, you have to absolutely be conscious and crystal clear. I recently put in a blog post something I discovered in my reading and my research, and that is that we have between 70,000 and 90,000 thoughts a day. But here's what was really arresting to me. That is that 95% or so of all the thoughts we have are the same exact thoughts we had yesterday, and the day before, and the day before. In other words, you and I get up every single day and we rerun the same basic Groundhog Day script. We get up, we go through the same routine, get in the same car, pass the same stores, turn at the same turns, take the same route to work, go to the same office, interact with the same people, eat the same food, and that's how our lives almost entirely are. In other words, what thought patterns get embedded, slowly but surely become our embodied reality, and we live our lives on autopilot, and we have a habit of being us, ourselves. What the clarity research says is this: those that are optimal performers, those that are really evolving, those that are happier, have a higher relational quotient, have better parenting skills, have higher incomes. They are crystal clear on several sets of questions. And the first set of questions are what this video is about. The first set of questions has to do with, first, who are you? At one level you go, duh, no kidding, I get that. Yeah, but test this out. Go ask a few people close to you, just to ask them a few questions. Hey, listen, I want to ask you a couple questions. Who are you? What are the things that inspire you most? What are the things you find most recreative, that genuinely recreate you? What's the growing edge of the things you're working on in your life right now? What are the things that you are really finding are so inspiring that you put them into a rhythm and into a protocol in an ongoing way to make sure your life is sharp and alert? Who are you? Do you know what? If you go ask those questions to people, you will find that the average person really does not have clear, prompt answers to those questions because they haven't deeply thought about it. And that is the first GPS setting we need. We have to know where we are if we want to progress and evolve. And this is the second question in this couplet. Not only who are you, but most importantly, who do you want to become? Top performers have absolute laser clarity about who they are evolving to become. So you have to know where you are, you have to know what habits you've embedded in your thinking and what embodiment you have in your reality if you want to shift the thinking and then shift the embodiment. Embeddedness moves to embodiment, moves to autopilot. We want to live a life not by default though, but a life by design. So here's the question and here's the takeaway for your effort to apply a little elbow grease here. And this is something that top performers do. One of the things the clarity research says is that those that are at the very top of their game, happiest, greatest income, best parents, highest relational quotient, they spend over 1 hour a week more than average or low performers thinking about who are they becoming. They spend over an hour a week more. Now, the truth of the matter is it wasn't up until a few years ago I hadn't really even thought about who am I wanting to become. And maybe that's true of where you are as well. So here's an exercise. 5 years from now, who would you like to be? When you look in the mirror, who do you want to see staring back at you? What kind of an ad do you want to be to other people around you? What kind of presence do you want to carry? What kind of person do you want to be relationally? What emotional intelligence do you want to have embedded in your life? What sort of relationships do you want to have? These are all things that top performers have absolute laser clarity about. So do a quick exercise, and it might take a while. It might not be so quick. Write down, who do you want to be in 5 years? And then here is the next step, the key step. What are the habits? What are the rhythms, the rituals, the patterns, the practices? What protocols will you have to establish day in and day out? What will you have to install in your weekly rhythm to make sure that 5 years from now, that person is staring you in the face in the mirror? Gang, clarity is king. And if you want to live a wildly better life, if you want to live at the top of your game, if you want to evolve to become the person you want to be, then I want to invite you to engage in this little exercise. We're going to do a little bit more in the next video, but I want you to really deep dive this. I hope this is helpful. Pass it on to loved ones. What would happen if an entire family, what would happen if your friends, if you began to have conversations around these sorts of clarity topics? That is indeed wildly better.